Gotcha.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order of the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors, October the 29th, 2019. Roll call, please.
Leyland,
Here.
Schwartz,
Here.
Belka,
Here.
White,
Here.
Little.
Here, would you please join us in a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, moving on to agenda receives, proposed or amended.
Second.
I do have a 7G, we're going to table it till further notice.
Good idea.
Apparently the committee, there's changed some language, so what the board currently got this past week is not theirs. So they're gonna go through it, update it, and then they'll pass it on to the board so you can review it. So we'll put that back on when they're ready to go. Okay, is that, who made the motion?
I think,
That's part of the
yes,
motion
as
then.
amended, sure.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 2 is public comments. Anybody like to speak to the board at this time is not an agenda item. State your name and address and come up to the podium, please.
My name is Sam Hudson. I'm with the executive director with the North Iowa Juvenile Detention Center. Just wanted to introduce myself. We have 3 different programs out there. Of course, we have our Juvenile Detention Center. We also have the Adult Crisis Stabilization Center for adults in mental health. And probably this past February, we developed a subacute unit for mental health. Going into the future, we're looking to possibly look at an access center to have for officers to be able to drop people in mental health crises off instead of taking them to the ERs and having to wait for the hospitals to do sit there for 2 or 3 hours. So we're in the process of developing that. So I just wanted to introduce myself and let you guys know that we're here to serve the counties that we have underneath us. So,
Sam, are you located then on Dunkerton Road?
yep, right next to Pillar of Cedar Valley. So,
Yeah. Craig, are you on that board?
Yep.
Yeah, Craig's on that. You want to introduce who you brought with you today? Is that?
I brought one of my program coordinators. Her name is Val Minerhall. She's the program coordinator for the detention side. So she travels with me everywhere to board meetings and stuff. So
Very good. You have anything you wanted to say?
No, other than we also do have a transportation service that we have opened up to different sheriffs in different counties. So we can actually do them transports and keep them in their counties.
Very good. It was nice seeing both of you, and you're welcome to come to the board anytime.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to claims and payments, Resolution A. James?
Yes, claims this week came to a total of $236,461.86. The big ones on there, secondary roads came to a total of $49,272.30. And then we had, we had second quarter payments for unemployment comes out for $7,298, and then $35,268.71. Everything else looks pretty normal. So,
Okay.
Move to approve.
second.
Is there any questions or comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Leyland,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Belka,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Little.
Yes. Moving on to item 4, receiving project updates from department heads and or elected officials. Morning, Kathy.
Good morning, Board. Kathy Nicholas, County Engineer. Welcome to winter. We did, like I told you, we do have the sanders on all of our trucks, and we were out sanding the paved road intersections this morning. It was slippery this morning. Just because we're entering that time of year, I would like to urge the traveling public to slow down and allow yourself more time, more space between the car in front of you. I did want to spend about 3 minutes showing you some slides that I took over the last few days concerning some ditch cleanouts. And I just wanted to share that with you because it is an important piece of work that we are doing right now at this time. So I just have about 5 photos in this first introductory slide. So we clean out ditches. Why do we clean out ditches? So primarily when our roads were built a number of years ago, 75 years ago, the ditches were created by digging along the center line of most roadways, throwing that material back up along the center line, and then creating the roadway itself. In many cases, there was a clay layer placed at the bottom of the ditch. That's to allow the water to run down the ditch. Over time, as you can imagine, due to farming, wind erosion, water erosion, these ditches fill in with silt, with material, and we get requests to clean out those ditches. We ourselves see a need to clean out those ditches. We want to keep the water flowing into the ditches, to the proper creek, to the proper area. If we don't clean them out, then the water can tend to sit in the ditch area, for example, and that can allow the water to become trapped in the roadway structure itself, and that can directly contribute to frost boils. And we do have requests from homeowners who have their perimeter drains that drain into our ditches. So we do get various requests throughout the year. We add them onto our list. In this county, we primarily clean out ditches in the fall, once farmers have started to remove their crops. So you can see this field that the crop has been removed. So that's a good time for us to get in there, because in most of the cases, while we do have the first right to this material, we don't usually need it. We just want to put it right back in the field where it most likely came from. This minimizes our costs. We don't have any transportation costs then. So here's a ditch that was being cleaned out last week along Acker Road. And you can see that we probably got a request that the water was just sitting in the ditch, probably from the farmer, and we've side-cast this material back up into the field, and then they come later, either this fall yet or next spring, before they start planting, and they'll spread it back out onto their field. Here's a photo from the other direction. You can see that it is cleaned out now. It is back to the way it looked most likely when the road was created. We do seed the ditches when we are finished with the ditch cleanout process. It's difficult to see the seeds, but this was seeded. This is another ditch cleanout along Eagle Road, so west of Highway 63. This would be looking to the east. Again, another long stretch of ditch cleanout where we are side casting that material. This flag is a location of where an old clay field tile is located. So this is really, it's a small diameter tile, but you can kind of see the round shape right behind the base of the flag here. So that's a drainage tile from the field that is draining into the ditch. Prior to that, the silt was most likely covering up that clay tile. So that's one of our purposes, is to reestablish the flow line back to the original condition. Many of our ditches, we only get cleaned out on a 20-year cycle because we have over 12,000 miles of ditches to clean out.
How many?
Approximately 15 to 20-year cycle. We just have so many miles of ditch clean out.
So how do you know where those are at, the clay tile?
So sometimes we don't. Sometimes, like I said, we get a request from a farmer that they're saying that their tile is silted in. Can you clean out the ditch for us?
So they have no responsibility for that whatsoever?
No, by Iowa code, we are responsible for, it's in our right of way.
Because Iowa code also said that they're supposed to clean them out twice a year?
Mow them twice a
Mow
year.
them twice a year?
The farmer, you mean?
Yeah.
No, the code would be silent on,
Would
the
you
mowing.
check to see if there isn't a state statute that says that they have to, landowners are required to mow their ditches at least twice a year?
So right now, there is a statute that there shouldn't be any mowing until after July 15th of the year.
I don't know, what I was just reading, it says there's a state statute that says landowners must mow at least twice a year, their ditches. You check into that?
Sure. Can I answer any other questions?
So what happens if the farmer doesn't want that soil in his field? So we're responsible for that? Yes or no?
In most cases, we do just put it back onto their property.
I know, but you leave it in the pile, they're probably not happy.
Yeah,
with that,
right, it's their responsibility, it's now on their private
Okay.
property, we just leave it.
All right, thank you.
I think most farmers want the soil back that's eroding away. So that's valuable.
I bet you some of it's beautiful soil.
Yeah.
Rich in chemicals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lead.
Makes it-
Okay, thank you, Kathy. And then, anybody have any questions for her? I'm sorry. Okay, is there anybody else? Okay, moving on to item 5, minutes approved for October 22nd, 2019.
Second?
Is there any questions or comments on the minutes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 6 is a consent agenda to be made with a single resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Does anybody have any questions, comments on the consent? Roll call, please.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes. Item 7 is other business, a resolution of the amendment to the minutes of the Board of Supervisors meeting October the 8th, 2019, replacing preferred 1 with Blackhawk County and adding the statement, lower the co-pays for MD Live to $10, $15.
So moved.
Second?
Is there any questions on this amendment? Roll call, please.
Trelka,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Little,
Yes. Item B is a resolution amendment to the minutes Board of Supervisors meeting October the 15th, 2000, clarifying changes that were stated about the non-bargaining compensation policy.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any questions or comments on this one? Okay, roll call, please.
White,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
Little,
Yes. Item C is a motion to accept the resignation from Larry Odragi from the Blackhawk County Board of Adjustments effective October the 21st, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
And as the board knows, we actually got quite a few openings right now in various boards. I see it was in the Courier Sunday also. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item D is a motion to direct the county auditor to advertise for a public hearing, 9:05, Tuesday, November the 12th. This is a rezone request from Richard and Mary Ketman of 6721 Jubilee Road to rezone 2.5 acres from ag to ag residential.
So moved.
Second?
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item E is discussion, possible board action to proceed with drafting a RFP for solar implementation on the following 7 facilities: Pinecrest, Longfellow Maintenance, Longfellow Shop, Longfellow Cold Storage, Conservation Headquarters, Conservation Mechanic Shop, and Elkhorn Shop is recommended by the Alternative Energy Committee.
So moved?
Second.
Okay, Rory, would you have some discussion here?
Based on our work session that we had a couple of weeks ago, there was a question that came out of that with regards to whether or not we worked with the city of Waterloo for permits. In that proposal that I shared with the board on the PowerPoint, they used historical cost for permits and plan design, so that was factored into that cost. So when we develop that RFP, we would most certainly outline the requirement for the contractor to include that in their cost. I did add on to that amount the cost estimate for a fence to go around the solar panels that would be on the ground, and that would be at the Pinecrest location. I'm also working with engineering department just to identify our property boundaries for that location as well, so we can incorporate that in the RFP also. And so what we're looking for today for the 7 facilities on this action item is an approval to proceed with the development of the RFP, which would be a public hearing, so that would again come back in front of the board at that time. So at this point, we are developing that RFP with the help of the committee in a whole, and once we have that,
When we get the bids back, then that'll give you plenty of time to go over all your figures, so the board has a pretty good guesstimate on the total cost on everything, not only the bid, but whatever else we have to do.
you're right, and part of developing that RFP is capturing all of those items.
That's what I'm saying, but
Yep,
maybe if
so-
something else comes up in the meantime,
Yeah.
the time to have that discussion is when the bids come back.
Right.
So we got an idea exactly how much we're talking for the total project.
Yeah, if there's, like, for an example, if there's a structural issue on one of our facilities that we need to address,
Yeah.
that would be captured at the time of pre-bid meetings and those types of things from the experienced contractors that do this line of work.
Sounds good.
Yep.
You got alternatives on the fence, Rory? You got alternatives on the fence? different
What
size pipes?
I estimated my cost was a 6-foot fence, which would also include, it's about a foot and a half or so. If you've seen, I mean, it looks pretty gnarly, but it's got the barbed wire and it kind of protrudes out, just to keep anybody from climbing over that fence.
That can be allowed in city limits.
Well, that's again, the planned design. That would have to go in front of the.
I got some doubts on the barbed wire in city limits.
Yeah, that would have to go in front of the planning design committee. That's just what I used as kind of my estimate to put
Yeah,
that
you might
dollar
want to
amount.
check into that one.
I
Yep.
think I have seen that on utility equipment fencing, but so it's
Yeah,
possible in Cedar Falls.
it's a safety thing. We don't want anybody in this area because primarily it's a safety concern.
Yeah, I think I've seen it at retention ponds as well.
Yeah.
So try to gather all that information so the board's got everything that day and got a good idea of what the whole total project's going to cost.
Yeah, and we'll also send the completed RFP to the board too, that you'll have a chance to read through. And if there's anything that you feel that the committee might have missed, we want to try, our goal always is to try to make these RFPs as thorough as possible, so.
Okay, board, got any other questions or comments? Obviously, this is going to come back to us quite a few times.
I just say this is some of the alternative energy committees worked on for a really long time, and so this is a really exciting next step and something truly remarkable I think we're doing as a county that is not only going to have a large financial impact that's going to save millions of dollars over the coming decades, but also do the equivalent planting over 300,000 trees and be something that we can all be proud of leaving for future generations.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, let's have a roll call on this one.
Leyland,
Yes,
Schwartz,
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
White,
Yes,
Little.
Yes. And item F, similar to item E, discussion, board action include the sheriff's office shooting range for solar implementation. I've seen the sheriff come in. Tony wants to address this.
Yeah, I can say that I did have a conversation with Tony. Tony and I have actually been discussing solar for, I would say, probably since I started back in 2009. So he's been pretty involved in this as well. I believe at the work session there was some back and forth discussion about this, and so I spoke to Tony concerning that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, but Tony is on board with moving forward with his training range to cover the cost with a non-tax-based fund of the 60%.
The cost was pretty minimum, wasn't
It
it?
was about just a little over $9,000.
But at the same token, the return was very low too.
The return was low, but again, I'll mention the carbon footprint. When you look at all of these projects as a whole, it does play a factor. It does play a large factor in that large carbon footprint picture, so.
Okay.
Make a motion to include this in the RFP.
Second.
Okay, is there any other questions or comments?
Sorry, I did have a question. From economies of scale, by the fact that we're doing all of these, there might be some benefit, I'm thinking, we can capture with that.
I believe so, yes, yes. Yep.
I have a question for Pete.
Sure.
Do you see a problem with me voting on this?
Not at all.
I wouldn't see anything there. Anybody else? Okay, then let's have a roll call also on this one.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Trelka.
Yes.
White.
Yes?
Leyland.
Yes.
Little.
Yes. And item G, we tabled till later on. So item 8 is, are there any reports or information from the board at this time, Dan?
4 years ago today, we suffered a line of duty death at the Waterloo Police Department with Adam Little. I just want to ask people to keep his wife Sue and his son Devin in their thoughts and prayers.
Very good. Chris?
I say this Friday is, I've been serving on the Friends of Iowa CASA board for the last couple of years, and CASAs are court-appointed special advocates that stay with kids in the foster system as they get bounced around. This Friday is their Waterloo Cedar Falls benefit breakfast, and if I know Supervisor Trelka is planning on attending, if anybody else wants to, just let me know today, and I can put your name on the RSVP list. The breakfast is free, but then there's always a chance to donate at the event.
Okay. Greg, anything?
Yes, I got 4 deaths recently. Send our condolences to the family of Sister Barbara Schaefer. She was a teacher in the Catholic schools for many years. Luke Cox, who was the executive director out at the detention center for many years. Pat Craig, John Deere worker, and Ruben Rodriguez, a Vietnam vet.
Okay, Linda? Okay, then at this point, we're going to go into recess, and it looks like we're going to reconvene at 10 o'clock. So we are in recess.
Thank you.